Hi everyone, Emily here from Emily's Excellent Epics, and today's December 24th, so Merry Christmas Eve. Before I get any further in the film, my next door neighbor is vacuuming. I'm hoping that that noise doesn't pick up, so I apologize if that's what you're hearing. But today is the last video of the Bookmas countdown of my top 24 favorite books of the year. Tomorrow I have something different planned. Fingers crossed I could make it through the video without being overly emotional. But today is book number 1. So I've been counting down in reverse order the top 24 books that I read this year. If you're new here, the rules were I could not do rereads, and I could not use I read Throne of Glass, and I read a few series, and so I could only pick one book from the series. I did repeat authors. I just repeated one author. Sorry, my tag is sticking up in the back, and that was bugging me. I did repeat one author, Brandon Sanderson, but other than that, no repeats of authors. So, without further ado, let's get to my top book that I read this year. And before I share with you what that book is, I need to do a little prequel here on this book. I was supposed to have read this book last year in June of 2024 for the Amazing Readathon, and I ended up having to swap it out for a different book because it's a chunky beast, it's fantasy, and well, it really isn't that long when you compare it to like Stormlight Archive. It's only, hold on, sorry, we're checking page count. It's only like 600 pages, so it's not bad. But for some fantasy, it's not that bad. It's a good mid-range fantasy novel. So I was supposed to read this for the Amazing Readathon, and I had to switch it out for a shorter book because I had another long fantasy book for the Amazing Readathon last year, and then I just never got to it in 2024. So 2025 rolls around, and I did read it for the Amazing Readathon this year. And when I read it in June of 2025, I said, this is the best book that I've read all year. And I don't think any book is going to top this book. I think this is going to be the number 1 book for 2025. And that's saying a lot for it to be, because I read it in mid-June. So I'm only halfway through the year. I still have 6 more months to go. And I was like, I think this is the best book that I've read all year. I don't think anything's going to top it. And I was also very angry with myself as to why did I wait so long to read this book. So now that I have thoroughly hyped you up for this book, that book would be The Sword of Kaigen by Emma Long. So good. Like, I'm already going, when can I fit in a reread? Like, I think I'm going to have to do it in 2026 because it's... Do I know when I'm going to fit this in with Herkhead and 52 Book Club? I don't know, but somehow this is going to fit in. So, what is this book about? This is a standalone fantasy. Oh, I should also preface something too. I mentioned that this is 600 pages. I read this over the course of 3 days. 3 days. Now, yes, it was June. I'm a teacher. I have summers off. I don't work a second job. I am single. I don't have children. I have time on my hands. So I had time to read this book, but I also really wanted, I just could not put this book down. So what is this book about? So in The Sword of Kaigen, we follow I can't remember the last name, the Matsuda family. So this is dual point of views, and we pick up a third later on in the novel. So we have 2 points of views here. The first is 14-year-old, I had looked at the names before recording, and then I forgot them. So we have 14-year-old Mamoru. And 14-year-old Mamoru has a pretty steep legacy to live up to. So you see his family, the Matsuda family, they are known for what's called the Sword of Kaigen. That's their name. They're part of the Kaigenese Empire. And what they're known for is they're kind of like, they have avatar powers. So they can control like water and ice. And the Sword of Kaigen is a sword made from ice that's so powerful and strong that a regular sword can't cut it. And so he has this legacy to live up to, and he has yet to make a sword like that. His father, his uncle, they all of the patriarchal members of his society, his family can do that, but he has yet to do that. So we follow him in his journey and his education process. We also follow Misaki. And Misaki is Mamoru's mother. And we get her POV not only present day, but in her past. We learn about her past. And Misaki, unbeknownst to her husband, at one point in time, she studied martial arts and she studied sword fighting. And she gave that up when she became a wife and mother. And then one day, war comes to their where they live, and they have to fight. And she and the events unfold from there. Because this is war where it's in a village, women and children are involved. So please understand and note that it does deal with the effects of all the effects of war on women and children and the outcomes of men's actions against women and children during war. So please understand those trigger warnings. Gosh, this book was just gut wrenching. Like the depth of human emotion, the depth of just how the characters were so well developed. Their story was developed. The plot was very plot forward and kept driving forward, but also the character development was phenomenal. This book deals with issues of motherhood and how does one deal with letting go of the past to then move forward in the present and the future, and letting go of what was and that can never be again, and moving forward to the present and the future that you have and will have and can have. It also obviously heavy themes of motherhood. It also deals with government and what the government tells you via news outlets, and has a lot of social commentary there. And now I am one who I really like and value social commentary through the lens of sci-fi and through the lens of fantasy. I can't handle it. Like, I can't do it in literary fiction where it's like, this really could happen. But having that distance of fantasy where it's like, no one can make swords made out of ice. Like, I like I can handle social commentary when it's through a fantasy lens. Yeah. This is a standalone, which is wonderful because people are like, "Oh, am I going to get started on a series?" No, if no, you won't get started on a series. It's a standalone. It's a complete story. It features an older woman fighter, which those stories aren't as prevalent in fantasy, which is wonderful. Deals with themes of motherhood. Again, themes that aren't usually dealt with in fantasy. I do have Blood Over Brighthaven that I need to read by her. And I just hope, which I've also heard is fantastic. I hope she does not stop writing because she has such a powerful voice and a fantastic way of developing a story. And you can see I did do some tabbing. So if you've made it this far, your question of the day: what was your favorite book that you read this year? If you are not sure how to answer that question, because there's just so many gems that are out there that I know that you probably have read. If you're not sure, leave a sword emoji for the Sword of Kagen, or leave like some kind of icicle or ice cube, again, because the Sword of Kagen is made out of ice. And thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification button, leave a comment down below. Those things really do help the channel grow and are free for you to do. Thanks.